All right. So this is our first something. I don't know if it's a podcast or what it's going to end up being, but we just had some September for some reason. There's a lot of anniversaries for us. Starting off with our wedding anniversary, but then we also ended up starting our business in September. That's kind of the start of when I started originally coaching. So we just went through the month of September and realized
there's a lot of stuff that's happened, and that we have just some anniversaries of when we started a lot of things.
And talking with some of the folks at our gym, and then realizing like a lot of them didn't even know like where we had come from, like started off from. So you're like,
why we started the gym, when, what brought it all about.
Timeline. I was talking with some people, and they were like, "Wait, really? That's how it started?" I was like, "Yeah."
I guess we should talk about it.
Yeah. So we want to talk about like the stuff that we're doing, our why, and just like a lot of our philosophy on health and fitness, as what we use at our gym, but also that we want to continue to get out there too for more people. So we thought we kind of cover where we came from and how we started with all that. So first off, our business, we're Matthew and Elspeth Jamaica, and our business is Stout-Heart Fitness.
We're married.
We are. Our business is Stout-Heart Fitness, and we started that 3 years ago.
In September.
I think it was September 10th. So we did the first one. And so it was just even getting to that point. Now, it almost feels like 3 years feels like a really long time, because it was just a lot of like a journey just to even get there.
It doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but at the same time, it feels like so many things happened that, feels like a long time ago, but not very long ago.
Yeah. So I mean, you always had a lot of interest in like health and wellness. I think even as a kid.
Yeah.
I not as much of that, but I have more of like came from a family with a very analytical background, and had some like physical injuries and restrictions, like even as a teenager, that I always needed to know why. So I think after we got married, you had an uncle that was a chiropractor, and for me that was kind of the point where I started to like, I could be interested in this, like breaking down, understanding like why people are in pain, how you help them with that. So for me, that was kind of the start of thinking I could possibly see myself working in that field. I don't know for like you, like when that first thought kind of occurred, if it was like even just, it was just more of an extension of the interest you had in health.
Yeah, I just always wanted to be able to help people somehow, in pretty much any interest that I came across and started to explore. There was always just that desire to help people feel better. I don't know exactly. I think it was probably after we had 2 or 3 kids that I started to even think kind of along the lines of, it would be really amazing to open a facility. I didn't even necessarily have gym in my mind, but just a facility where we could work together and we could help people. Some kind of a health and wellness facility.
Yeah.
So.
And so for reference, when you said I said after we got married, so we've been married for 16 years now. So that itself was a little while ago, and we have 4 kids. The oldest is 15. So just kind of the time reference. When you say after 2 or 3 kids.
Yeah.
That's been
even
about 10 years.
A while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so eventually all of that kind of leading up to us starting Stout-Heart 3 years ago. As far as like actually doing stuff that was movement related or exercise or fitness, if you want to call it that.
Like more organized fitness rather than us just.
Yeah, we were
working
active
out at home.
Working out. And, I liked doing team sports. Different. I played volleyball a lot with my family and friends, and so just and just lots of different activities and sports. But actually, like consistent, organized. Like, okay, we're gonna work on getting better at a particular type of fitness. We started doing CrossFit 6 years ago, so that would have been like 2015.
Yeah, our 4th child was 5 months old when we started. So for me, I wanted to start to get stronger and I knew that my core was an issue. I had a separation, down in my abs, and I wanted to start to like actively work on that and building strength.
Yeah. And for me, I had been like doing quite a bit of training before that and dabbled with some CrossFit, like doing workouts off of like the CrossFit website and things like that, but not, and actually done some stuff consistently with that, but never had any coaching. And
Right.
I wanted to know more. I wanted to know a lot more, and I wanted to get a lot stronger. So we started doing CrossFit about six. We joined a CrossFit affiliate in Lancaster and started working out there, and
then you started coaching.
Yeah, it was about
like a year,
almost a year and a half after that, because I took my CrossFit level 1. So we started going in
2000, like May
of May or June of 2015,
something like that.
and then the next year in September is when I took level 1. So yeah, just a little over a year. We started doing it. We loved it. Like we had a lot of fun with it.
So much fun.
The intensity, learning new movements that we had never done before. I like trying to. Well, I think we both like trying to master things, and so, it's just being able to constantly see the progression. Like it's like, oh, I'm getting better at this skill. I'm getting stronger. My conditioning's a lot better.
And I discovered I work out better with people. So that was good for me to see, because I've always been sort of just do my own thing, independent, don't really need people. And then I was like, oh, actually I do. I work out better with people. It keeps me much more motivated.
I'm kind of 50-50. I like to work out with people sometimes, and other times I like to be in my workout cave by myself. But I did enjoy the camaraderie of it and the just everybody pushing each other, and it was good. So about a year after that, I was like, like I said, I always need to know why and understand more. So it seemed like a natural progression. I ended up talking with the owner, and he was like, yeah, if you wanted to coach, I'd love to have you, coaching for us. So I was like, all right, well, here's the opportunity to I had considered before, and I was just like, that might be something to be interested in. And then it was like, well, I actually have an opportunity to use it. So I took the level 1 that year. So that would have been 2016 in September. So that's another anniversary. It was 5 years ago. I took it actually the weekend of our anniversary, because we went and had our anniversary dinner, I think, after I finished that first day. Yeah, it was down in Orange County, and so anyway, so it was right around the same time. So actually it's been 5 years, and that kind of came up because with CrossFit certificates, they expire basically every 5 years. You have to go take them again, or you go up to the next level. So I actually just did my level 2. Actually passed, got it all taken care of, and anyway, so that was exactly 5 years ago. So from that, as I started coaching, and I know Elspeth has some. Well, I think for both of us, we noticed on certain things where it's just certain movements are they're always everybody has movements they struggle with. But I needed to know why do I struggle with that? Why do I get that weird twist when I try to do a barbell clean? Why when I go on the bottom of my squat, my hips get a little bit off, and trying to force the correction of just let me just shift it and put it into the right position. It just didn't seem to work. And then as I was coaching also too, a lot of times getting people in perfect form, perfect position, and they'd be like, that doesn't feel good. Or they'd be afterwards be like, yeah, now my back hurts. It's well, if you're doing it right, that should not be a byproduct. It's supposed to be good for you.
And I remember you coming home from coaching sometimes feeling very frustrated that there was someone who obviously had a lot of movement issues, and you would try to put them in the right position, and they'd be getting the right form, but it still wasn't working right. They'd lose all strength, or they would hurt. And I was starting to have that same kind of issue. I was noticing it more. It felt like I should have been improving, and being able to go up in weight on different movements, and it just wasn't happening. And I would feel like I was being told that my position was good. And I'm not saying that the coaching wasn't good there. People were they had good coaches. but I was feeling stuck, especially for me. The back squat was a huge thing.
Yeah.
I would squat and I'd feel anxious every time I saw that there's any kind of squatting. I'd feel very, very anxious, and I would be told I was in a good position and that it would look good, and adjust these things, and I would try to adjust them, and my body would just freak out. I would just feel nervous. I could not go heavy at all.
I didn't feel like it was getting any better.
It didn't. It was not getting better. So
you were like doing all the right things, and you just felt like you're stuck.
Yeah. So it was like I've been here for, coming up on 2 years, and that particular movement or those particular movements were just not getting better. So I started to get kind of frustrated, wondering what I was doing wrong, what was wrong with my body, if it was ever going to get better.
Right.
So then we heard about Julian Pinot. How do you say
You
that?
can't.
I don't know.
You can't. No.
I don't know.
Hopefully you're not watching this, Julie.
Well, he can't say my first name, so we're even.
Okay.
We heard about him from someone who went to the gym.
Yeah, at our gym.
To our gym. And so Matthew started kind of talking about it a little bit, and then we came across one of his videos at a time when something was happening in CrossFit, and it just resonated with us.
I think I actually saw that before even our friend had mentioned it. So I saw that. So when he mentioned it, I was like, oh, I've seen that guy. It was his video on people tearing their pecs.
Yes.
And I can't remember which regionals what year that was, but it was the ring dips, and all these guys blew up their pec.
Right. So we had seen that, and that really resonated. And then you were talking to Mikey and heard about about him, and so then we started watching more of his stuff, and we're like, this just makes sense.
Right. And then he had a vlog where he had said he would love to help someone who was starting up a brand new gym. Mm-hmm. And at that time, we started to have we had some different ideas of things. We knew we wanted to build our own community at some point. The gym that we were at, like we said, there's a lot of great coaching and stuff. It's just over time, it felt like the community had kind of started to pull apart, and it's tough in a situation like that when that starts to happen to like kind of infuse new energy back into it and get everybody back on the same page, and we were trying. I was trying to help with that.
Vision, and then a lot of energy to carry that out, and so that wasn't happening.
Yeah, it was just and I know that there was like a lot, and I was one of the coaches at that point, and I think a lot of us really wanted to bring that back, but it was really tough, and we just, as we saw certain things, and we're like, we would like to do things this particular way, and start something like fresh, on our own from scratch. And so we were kind of starting ready to think that way of like, I think we originally were kind of thinking like maybe a CrossFit affiliate, and we even thought about like, oh, let's maybe we'll have a climbing gym, because there weren't any climbing gyms out here at that point. Like that would be a cool combination. But we weren't sure exactly like how that would work, but the idea was kind of there. And then as we started like...
Overall, we knew we wanted a really great community, a strong community where people felt supported and like they could come and be themselves and grow and be supported in that growth. Yeah. So then
So from that one vlog, he mentioned he wanted to like help someone who wanted to start a gym. We're like, hey, we want to start a gym. And he was like, he even said, I think, like, reach out to me. And I was like, okay, I just... whatever, I'm just going to send him an email and see what happens. And it just so happened when I sent the email, it was December of like what year was that? 2017. He happened to be in town, because he'd been traveling, I think, quite a bit already at that point. He happened to be in town. He was in San Diego, and we're up in like about 3 hours north of there. So we were like, he was like, hey, why not, if you have time, drive down and we'll meet and let's talk. So like, oh, cool. I don't know, both of us are like, hey, you get an opportunity to learn from somebody that has experience and that's helping people do what you want to do. We're gonna do it. So we drove down. I think it was like a couple days later. We spent like 3 hours at lunch. So like we were surprised that he was able to take that much time.
Yeah, he really gave us a lot of time, which meant so much to us.
Because we were really at a point just like, how would this even work? And he was seeing a lot of like struggling like CrossFit affiliates at that point. Like, here's a lot of things that you don't want to do for sure. Here are things that are super important to do. So we were taking like a lot of notes, and we talked a little bit about movement stuff too, because that was just fascinating to us, and wanting to know more about like, okay, how do you have people move and help with pain? So we didn't go into that a lot, but we knew that was a big part of what he did.
I think a lot of what he did was help us iron out kind of our vision
Yeah.
for what a gym should be. And he helped us really simplify that, which was really good.
Because we had
for
all
us.
the ideas.
We had a lot of ideas and no way to carry any of them out.
Yeah. So that was really good. And I think taking that back and combined with too, like with my dad's business experience, and then some other people that we knew too that were like, more entrepreneurial, like kind of letting that all kind of ruminate and come together. It's like, okay, this is actually maybe a more actionable plan instead of just ideas, which we knew we needed that to be able to move forward, but we just hadn't been able to pull that all together yet. So yeah, so then after that,
heard, so we didn't really do anything with it. We still had the ideas, all that, and then it was in April of 2018 that Strong Fit was having a conference in San Diego.
or
like a coach's week.
Yeah, coaches week.
So.
And to do the coaches week,
you had to do like a 2-day seminar.
Which there was, for some reason, there was not normally they'll do a seminar and then they do coaches week, and for some reason that particular time they weren't doing the seminar ahead of time.
Yeah, and so you reached out, you emailed and said, hey, is there any way we could do it? And they got back to us a few days before it started.
I think it was like a week before,
and they said,
like that, or a few days. Yeah.
You can do the online. We just put it out. The 2-day online seminar.
You guys can be the first ones to take it.
And then come down.
It was like, I can't remember how many hours of.
A lot of hours. And we packed all of them in.
Like just in the evening, like I get back from work, we'd eat, and then we like study.
Yes.
Somehow managed to get them all done. Yeah, it was like now that you mention, I think it was like a couple of days.
We did that 2-day seminar in like 2 days in between.
In the evenings.
In the evenings, yeah. After we'd fed the kids, and I would like put a movie on for them, send them to bed, and we would just knock it out. So then we went down to the coaches week, and that was pretty amazing. It was good to now get to like physically apply a lot of the things that we've been hearing and that we'd wanted to try, and now we got to actually talk with the people running it and try it out and meet other people who were in the same boat, who had like a lot of a huge variety of backgrounds, but all had kind of the same vision that we had. They wanted to help people truly feel better,
right, and
kind of learn why people were in pain and not getting better.
Yeah, and really like tying together, because I mean, I think every coach knows like a lot of it's not just the physical, but for us, like really solidifying that we wanted to help people with health as a whole, and that the physical affects the emotional and affects the mental, and vice versa.
Right.
So if you're going to actually make someone healthy, you have to help them in all three areas. And
if you leave any one of those out, you're going to be missing a big piece.
And you're going to stunt the others.
Sure. And you have to start with yourself.
Right.
And that's where the other coaches were as well. It was like what brought them there was usually some kind of crisis or injury,
trauma,
and so then there was like this focus. So while we
ran out of space, so we were still at the coaches week.
And while we were there, I had sort of an like epiphany. My core was always kind of it had been a weak area for me since having kids. I had an abdominal separation that kept me from doing a lot of things. There were certain things I said that I would never be able to do. There's just a lot of fear wrapped up in that. And I remember basically using breathing and some of the principles involved to do something that I said I would never do, which was a sit-up on a GHD, just a sit-up, period. And
if you don't know what that is, it's a really aggressive type of the sit-up where you go from like, your back is arched, your upper body's lean, you're hanging off of something, upper body hanging towards the ground, and it's very aggressive on your abdominals.
Right. So I was able to get onto the GHD. I didn't go all the way down, but I used my breathing and activation in some different areas of my body, and I felt completely safe, and I could tell that I was safe, and that was a huge thing because there was no longer this question of, is that okay for me? It was like, I can feel that was completely safe, what I did.
Right.
And that was huge for me. And that gave me so much confidence and hope to be able to then go home and know that I could someday be stronger and that could be healed.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty massive deal for me.
Yeah, it's huge. I think when you feel that you can move and you know it's safe, there's just a difference. Instead of feeling like I'm in this position that I'm being forced into, the coach says, go here, move your knee here, put your hips here, and you're just like, I'm trying to do all those things,
Right.
and it feels weird and it feels awkward. And that was like reinforced to me a couple weekends ago when I did my level 2, where it's very much, it's based, the coaching for CrossFit for the most part is very much, the way they teach you to coach is very much based on correct form and
Right.
position. And so it's like, get into this position, and like that position feels horrible.
Right.
Because I know now with everything, I was like, well, it's because I can't find the muscle tensions you'd actually need to be in that particular position, so it's like, which I don't do a lot of those Olympic lifting movements and stuff anymore, so that was part of the reason I was having difficulty with it. But if you're working with somebody to do that, it's like, okay, yeah, but you got to have actual muscle tension to be able to maintain that position. If you
Right.
don't, then you're either hurting the person, you're decreasing their confidence, and like you said, it doesn't feel safe, and you know it. Like when you're doing it, you can tell it's like, this feels horrible, as opposed to when you actually do find the correct tension, and then you can hold that position. It's like, oh, it's awesome, I can do this. It's like, yeah, it might be hard, it might wear me out, but it
Yeah.
feels right, and
When the
there's no
person can
comparison.
actually-
There's no comparison.
Yeah, when the person can actually feel it, it's a totally different feeling, because now it gives them the power
Right.
to know what they can and can't do.
So I went back and even started using that at the CrossFit gym with
Right.
CrossFit movements, right? So, we were deadlifting, we were doing Olympic lifting, and just, it was amazing to me, even with, at that point, I was so early in that journey of understanding all of that, like I just had started with it, and just seeing people's faces all of a sudden get this aha moment of like, I've never felt the movement feel
The
like that
tension
before.
releases right through here, and they all of a sudden don't look like something bad is going to happen, and
Right.
it's like they wake up and go, what happened?
They're like, this is different.
Yeah.
And realizing, like, I had felt that for myself, and you had felt it, but then when you have coached someone and they feel it too, you're like, okay, there's really
This is
something
what
to this.
this is what I want to do with my
Yes.
life. Is what
I don't want to just try to force people to move a way that looks pretty to me in its correct form. I want them to actually feel the movement in a way that it connects with them on another level, to where
Yeah.
they're like, I can do this, and now I can tell I'm going to get stronger. I can tell this is safe for me. I can push hard, and yeah, rather than just being like, I mean, that was awesome, but my shoulder hurts, and I'm like, have all these conflicting emotions about the workout I just did, but I want to high five everybody because that was so hard, and
yeah.
so it was a lot different.
Yeah. So we were, at this point, we had joined the mentorship group that StrongFit has. We were Group 5. So it was kind of a newer thing still, which was really fun to get to be in kind of at the ground level a little bit.
You've been going for about a year or so at that point, maybe a year and a half.
So still like a lot of changes happening, and I mean there still are, but
there always changes.
Yeah, which is good. And so we were starting to also kind of help some people at the CrossFit gym that we were going to. Like, we were able to use the facilities.
The owner was great and let us do stuff,
yeah.
and we would do weekend workouts that were like kind of more focused on the stuff we wanted to do. And,
we were doing assessments so we could be kind of practicing our own, like our eye, practicing what we saw and trying to figure out why. And
another snafu. We're gonna finish this up. So.
All right. So we were doing assessments at the gym.
Weekend classes, getting some practice with the principles that we learned with the mentoring, or with the mentoring program and coaches.
And then Kim, she had been a coach at the CrossFit gym that we were at, told us we just should start coming to use her garage gym that she had. She said, I never use it. You guys just need to get started. And we had to move out of this headspace of no, we're gonna have a gym, we're gonna have it just perfect how we want it, and we just went and started.
Just start doing classes.
So that was in September of 2018, and we started with one class 3 days a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we had a morning class with 3, maybe 4 people there. My mom and my sister.
Yeah.
Kim, the lady who owned the house, and a friend.
Yeah. And it was just,
and
that wasn't always all of them every single class
No.
either. So yeah,
Nope.
so it was started really small, but it was good because we started to get the experience. You started to get actually being able to coach classes, which is something you
which
hadn't
was
done.
new to me. Yeah.
And then and just getting more opportunity to use those principles of movement the way we wanted to,
Right.
and also just the whole vision of start to be like, okay, no, health doesn't encompass. It's not just your physical health,
Right.
but this is your emotional and your mental. They're all tied together. So like doing that even with the workouts and letting people see the impact of it, letting us see it more too, because we were still pretty new to making that connection.
Right.
So it was really good, even if there wasn't a lot of people there, we were getting experience, we were getting
We got
reps.
to watch people move, and we got to watch the way different things, how they reacted to different things, which was
How people felt after different types of workouts and doing the breathing differently and
Right.
all of that. So
And then within a year, we had, I think, maybe like 3 evening classes and still 1 morning class. Got to just get a lot more people in and watch them move. And there were people who'd leave, and I mean, that was always hard.
when you have that few
Yeah.
members to
Yeah.
have to,
And we realized that what we were doing was not going to appeal to everybody.
Yeah.
Some people do just want to get in, they want to work out, and they want to leave. And we had some people leave, like after they'd had some kind of an emotional reaction, they were out.
Yeah.
And it made us feel like, are we doing something wrong? But then it was,
I don't know if I ever felt like we were doing something wrong, but I think we just had to come to the realization that it was like, this is not going to be, some people are not going to want to either believe or understand that their physical health is going to also be a reflection of what their mental and emotional health is, and vice versa,
yeah.
and that they're all intertwined and you can't separate them. There's going to be some people like, no, I just want to do a workout.
And if you do try to separate them, you're going to have basically muscles that freeze and just won't even work properly.
And then you have like, I mean, I think, and it's even beyond
We
that.
could go a lot deeper into that another
There's
time.
there's a whole, all kinds of different physical responses that happen. The fact that you're ignoring the emotional and the mental issues, but then also vice versa. There's things happen to you mentally, emotionally, if you don't deal with your physical health and actually get that taken care of. So, it just was.
Some people
Realize
don't
it's
go there.
hard to see that, but realizing but the people who are going to be ready to do that are going to be the ones that stay, and so over time, that has become the culture of the gym, and it's people there now who are just they bought in. They're like, this is cool,
And
and
they
so
love it and they recommend it, and then you get more people who are like-minded, and that culture just gets stronger. And
when they come,
healthier.
even if they're skeptical, they see everyone else as like, oh, this is working for these people. And so then I think they can if there's something they're interested in, they get excited about oh, this is what I'm looking for.
Right.
I don't want it to just be go do a workout and I feel sweaty and worn out afterwards and yay for me. But actually oh, I actually do feel better emotionally. I actually it is helping me to clear some of those blocks I have mentally with even other hard things in my life. So
now to be able to step back from a class and look at this whole group of people that now are the culture that we dreamed about a few years ago, and to see that we started that, and now it's kind of an entity all on its own. We still help to shape it, but it's there. That feels very satisfying and exciting.
yeah, it's like your little kids growing up.
Yep.
So
Gaining some independence.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about how we started, a little bit about who we are and the view we take on health, and we're gonna, I think, dig into some more of the details of how that works out, practically, how we use it in the gym, how we're gonna hopefully be using it to help people through also online here really soon. But I think we'll call it there for good for this one, and hopefully get some more of that here just a little bit down the road.